if you're a regular viewer of this show, you know just how frequently we talk about how the business world is still lagging behind in the push for parity. One of France's leading business schools, INSEAD, is marking 50 years since it first admitted women as students with an international conference focusing on equality in the corporate world. And one of the speakers is Magali Depras, who's the committee chair of Women in Governance in Canada and also behind the first gender parity certification in the country. Magali, thanks for being with us. Firstly, I'm going to have to ask you, what is gender parity certification?
Good question. Yes, gender parity certification is in fact a process that you have and put in place in order to measure the progress made in companies in terms of having female representation at all levels of the organization.
Are you meeting any resistance?
I would not say we meet any resistance. I think what I've noticed is that companies who are not sure how far they've come don't dare registering for this certification. So we have to encourage them.
So just take me through the process. How does it really work?
So what we do, in fact, is that we are taking a holistic view. We're not only looking at what is the representation of women at board level or at executive committee level. We really look at what are the processes at every level, the representation of females at every job positions in the organization, the hiring processes, the promotion processes, equal pay, the targets. Are these companies really articulated targets in numbers in terms of how many female will they have on their boards, will they have on their executive committees, and by when?
But the problem really is, because as for anybody who looks at the corporate sector these days, the reality is in senior management, it's still dominated by men, and men of a certain age. And so you're talking about dealing not only with a corporate mindset, but with individuals' mindsets, aren't you, as well?
Absolutely. I think it's, you named it right. I think this mindset has to change. We have to empower women to believe in themselves, to believe in their capacities and capabilities to take on leadership positions. We have to identify also mentors or sponsors, not only female mentors, by the way, it can be male mentors who really support them and encourage them.
But you're talking there about women, but you also have to get men on board as well.
You're totally right. I think it won't work if we don't onboard men in the process. I think we have to also make men understand that a more diverse company and diverse and inclusive decision-making body will make better decision. And I'm very encouraged to see companies starting to measure this and to measure the benefits of having inclusive teams.
But I imagine there are still men who struggle with that notion. So how do you really get the message across?
I think it's really, really essential, important that we share, good examples, best practices of companies who have put this in place and can measure the increase in revenues, the increase in profits, the increase in employee engagement, in brand awareness and recognition within the public when they have more females in their decision bodies.
Do you have any examples of people who've taken this message on and actually are trying to do this?
Absolutely. During this certification process, we have identified some of the best practices in Canada, and I have to say that especially interestingly in the banking sector and the insurance sector.
Which are very conservative sectors, aren't they?
Absolutely. And to name them, the Royal Bank of Canada has been one of the platinum certified companies when we launched it last year. And what they are really systematically measuring and demonstrating is how do they progress when they have more females in their teams. Another example I found really interesting is Sodexo, which is quite known in France, of course, and a big global catering company. Sodexo has undergone a survey within top 80 managers, and they have measured employee engagement, increase in revenues, increase in profits, increase in employee attraction through having more diverse teams. And they have published those results.
Magali, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.